What's up, YouTube? This is Angelo coming at you from Fear the Beard Football Channel. Doing another video tonight, just kind of diving into the whole Dak Prescott, Andy Dalton situation. I know that I had touched on, did an Andy Dalton video on, where I thought he was going to sign, and I dived into his stats a little bit more, and then I talked a little bit about him signing with Dallas, and I went into more in depth on Dak's stats and, my opinion on the whole entire situation, but I didn't necessarily dive any deeper into how all of this shapes up for the Dallas Cowboys and where they're going to be moving forward with their franchise. So, kind of getting into this, first off, I want to say that Dak Prescott is a phenomenal quarterback. I wouldn't say phenomenal, but I think he's a very good quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback in my opinion. The man's stats prove it for himself. First of all, he's yet to miss a game through his first 4 seasons, started all 16, and we do know the average of his stats. 3,900 passing yards, 300 rushing yards, an average of 5 rushing touchdowns a year, 24 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and a 65% passer. Now you look at Andy Dalton, and his stats are very comparable to that of Dak Prescott. He only averages 3,800 passing yards, which is very close to what Dak does. He averages 24 touchdowns, same as Dak. Now he does average more interceptions with 14 compared to Dak's 9. But the completion percentage is only 3 points off from each other. So, these two are very, very comparable. The only difference is Dak runs for more yards. But that's not to say that Andy Dalton isn't mobile. Right now in the NFL, all quarterbacks have some form of mobility. And I've seen him play with bad offensive lines and still be a bit evasive. Not necessarily scramble out of the pocket and extend a play. But he can do different things that's going to allow him to extend a play. Not meaning that he's running out of the pocket and running for his life like you would see a Dak Prescott or a Russell Wilson do. Now, with that being said, I've seen quarterbacks play that have no mobility whatsoever and that are not fast and still have a lot of success in the NFL. Let's take Tom Brady, for example. I don't know about you, but the man ran a 5.4 40 back in, 1999? 2000, whatever year it was that he got drafted. I think it was 2000. Tom Brady runs like old people, bump uglies. So, I think my 90-year-old grandpa could probably run out there today and probably put up a better 40 time than Tom Brady. But he's won 6 Super Bowls. And, some would argue, like myself, that a lot of that has to do with Bill Belichick and him having a good team around him. But still, he's not a very mobile guy. Peyton Manning was the same way. Eli had a lot of success. He wasn't mobile. Look at Phillip Rivers. And these are the type of guys that, if you want, you're saying that, Dak Prescott is this good, well, and he deserves this money. Well, first of all, from what I'm hearing is that his camp was offered $33 million per year on average with $105 million guaranteed, and apparently they scoffed at that. So you're looking at a guy like Andy Dalton, who's going to most likely command, if he had to start this year, probably somewhere around a $25 million per year contract. However long he ends up playing for is, totally, a different, story for a different day. But still, with their stats being as comparable, and you look at the offensive line that the Dallas Cowboys have, you look at the defense that they have in place, and you look at the weapons that they have around them. We've seen Andy Dalton lead a, team that had a decent defense and a decent offensive line with some weapons around him. We've seen him lead a team like that to the playoffs 4 times in his first 5 years with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the team that the Dallas Cowboys currently have is a better team than what Andy Dalton has ever had in his career. So I think, honestly, if this turns into a situation where Dak wants a gross amount of money, as much as you guys may love him, as much as, he has had success with that team, just go back and see what Andy Dalton was for the first 5 years of his career. It is not his fault that he got drafted to an organization that just didn't know what they were doing. This is an organization that until recently didn't have a scouting department. They had 2 scouts, like I alluded to in one of my other videos, and they don't even have an indoor practice facility. So if the weather's bad, they're not even practicing that day. So you got to just take a look at what he had to deal with. Yes, he had A.J. Green, but they lost key guys like Andrew Whitworth, who was protecting him. That was his left tackle. Vontaze Burfict, Keith Rivers, they were gone. He did have Marvin Jones, but up until they got Joe Mixon, he didn't even have a running back there. So, Cowboys always have a top 10 offensive line. They have had that for quite some time now. They have Amari Cooper. They have CeeDee Lamb. They have Michael Gallup. And then they even have that Jarwin guy. I can't remember his first name, so I'm sorry about that. But they have a top 3 running back in Ezekiel Elliott. And as long as that offense gets back to the feed Deke mantra that they've had, I feel like they're going to be a lot better. Because in my opinion, yes, Dak Prescott almost threw for 5,000 yards this year. Yes, he set a career high in touchdowns, and yes, he was, fairly competent passer. But I think a lot of the reasons why the Dallas Cowboys finished out 8-8 had a lot to do with the fact that they were trying to basically see if Dak Prescott was worth the money that he was trying to get paid. Now, you look at years prior, when they're having that offense run through Ezekiel Elliott, it's a completely different story. They were made the playoffs in 2 of those 3 years, and that, like I said, that's a big reason why I think they missed the playoffs and didn't succeed. Because I don't think Dak can be that guy that's going to lead your team and have that offense run through him. But that doesn't mean that he's not a bad quarterback. Because like I said, he is top 10. But I think if you give a guy like Andy Dalton the reins, the Cowboys are going to be just fine. He's going to be a cheaper option. He's not going to ask for as much money as Dak Prescott has. And really ask yourself this. And I want you to answer this with all honesty. Is Dak really worth $35 million a year? Just because he had one season where he almost threw for 5,000 yards and he can run for, I think, on average 300 yards a year, is he really worth it? Look at somebody like a Drew Brees. Drew Brees is making $25 million a year, and I've seen that man constantly throw up 5,000 passing yard seasons. Drew Brees got more efficient when he got a run game behind him, and they let that game flow through that. That's a completely different situation, yes, but still, it's kind of the same principle. So, if Dak is not willing to take a little less money to put a better team around him, but someone like Andy Dalton, who isn't that much different from a Dak Prescott aside from mobility, is willing to take less money to put a better team around him, wouldn't you want that? Now, if Dak is willing to take less money, by all means, he's the better quarterback. But go back and watch Andy Dalton because he's just as good. He is just as good of a passer, and with the weapons that you guys have, the offensive line that you have, and the defense that you have, I think you'll go farther with Andy Dalton than you would with Dak and the money that he's commanding. That's going to wrap up my video for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed. And I just want to let you know, I really thoroughly enjoy making these videos for you. Now, if you enjoyed this and you haven't already, please hit that like button and please hit subscribe and turn the bell on. It's only going to help this channel grow so I can, put better content out there for you and help improve these videos so they become a little bit better quality-wise. It was really great talking to you guys, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening.